something unthinkable has just happened in your neighborhood. There was an earthquake or a flood. You've just had a tornado hit or a hurricane is on the way. You have to evacuate, and you don't know when or if you will return. What about a biological event like the avian bird flu, or even a nuclear accident? What do? How do you survive until the authorities come, and when will they come? Welcome to the Emergency Preparation and Cooking Show, designed to teach everyone what their choices are and how to buy and actually use the right equipment. A show that provides you hands-on experiences by cooking delicious, nutritious meals using canned goods, dehydrated foods, sprouting seeds, and gardening seeds, with step-by-step demonstrations on how to have a positive adventure during disastrous times versus a life-threatening survival of the fittest experience. It's now your choice. Knowledge truly is power. So here to take the mystery and trepidation out of being prepared is the host and creator of the show, Reg McDaniel Jr.
The episode you're watching today was actually going to be the last and final 28th episode of our 28 one-hour series. And in it, we were going to do a summary of the past 27 episodes so that we could wrap up the season with that show. Then my director's wife made this really great idea proposal that we make that episode the first episode and let it broadcast throughout the whole season so that people would know what to look forward to in the next 27 episodes. So we decided to do it that way. So we're going to go through a summary of all 28 episodes, this being the first, and what they're about, and show you some clips and excerpts from each one. And we also wanted to make the DVDs of each episode available and affordable for everybody. So I decided that if you buy all 28 episodes, you can get them for $9.95, but that's not all, as they say on those infomercials. You can also make as many copies of the DVDs as you want to for your friends, family, and neighbors. But there's still more. If you use the code words TV show when you go to these different websites and type that in, or if you call the phone numbers and use the word TV show, you're going to get either a discount price or no shipping or free products or some other perk. So you want to use the code words TV show if you want to choose to have any of the things that I show you in these episodes in your emergency preparation equipment. And I don't sell any of these things. Therefore, you want to go to those websites or call those phone numbers to get those books and devices and food storage and whatnot. So let's go into season 1 with what we're going to do in each and every episode, starting with episode number 2. So let's spend a little time now talking about episode number 2. In episode number 2, you're going to meet my good friend and mentor, Vicki Tate. I met Vicki for the first time in about November of 2006 at an emergency preparedness fair. Vicki has sold equipment, which I purchased, for emergency preparedness situations, as well as food storage, as well as other devices and books, cookbooks, recipe books, things like that, for over 25 years. She's very experienced in it, and she uses it, she practices what she preaches. She's a great guest, and the last thing I want you to know is she also compiled a book called Cooking with Home Storage, and you're going to see that book and we'll talk about it on the episode.
One thing, let me just say, Rich, is as I started doing a lot of, well, for years I had been involved in preparedness and helping people try to figure out how to do it. And one of the problems that I saw is people would get their food, but they didn't have a clue what to do with what they had stored.
Yeah.
And I like to tell a story. I was in charge of a church group cannery, and we had it was very, very well participated in, but people would come in and they would not have any idea what to do with even the basics that they were storing. And one day I had a friend come up to me and say, Vicki, I decided that I needed to save some money and I wanted to use my food storage. And I went down in my basement and I looked, and rows of cans, but there was nothing to eat. And it really can strike you that way, because if you are not used to cooking with those types of things, and nowadays a lot of people don't do much cooking anyway, you need to know what you're doing. But bottom line, there are going to be times, even for people who are the world's best cooks, if you are in a situation that is a stressful situation, you are not going to be able to do that kind of cooking all the time. Because when you get into things like your grains and your beans, you can spend hours preparing some of those things. And if you are under stress, if you're not feeling well, a lot of different reasons for it, you're not going to be able to do that. And so it's a really, really good idea to have some foods that do not require a lot of cooking that you can fall back on
So
in
the
those
bottom
times.
line you're saying is, if you're in a stressful situation, that's not the time to all of a sudden learn how to use this stuff.
Oh, that is so true. And I tell people all the time, anything that you are going to have to use in an emergency, learn how to use it now, because you are not going to be wanting to deal with that then. And it needs to be something that you're familiar with. All right, we're going to have Reg use his muscles to show how to use this one. But this, you adjust how fine or how coarse you want it by just turning this little knob. Same thing with this.
Use a bicycle, stationary
That's
bike.
right, yes. Actually, this is Reg's very own grinder that we're showing here today. And yeah, it comes with the instructions of how to just put a belt on here and hook it up to a stationary bike, and you can just pedal away and grind your flour that way. This flaker is a wonderful thing to use oat groats with. Oat groats are what you grind to get oatmeal, and they're much, much softer than what this wheat is. And with this flaker, you can adjust using these little knobs how thick you want them, how thin you want them, how flat, how big you want them.
In episode 3, you're going to meet a couple of good friends by the name of Lisa Anderson and Carol Connor, who have created a company that is launching a CD that you put into your computer that will help you create a 1-year, 2-year, or more food storage based on the ages of the kids in your family, or you and your spouse, and your various needs. And it'll be launched for the first time to the public anywhere using my television show. So you can look forward to that in episode number 3. In episode 4, technically it should be episode number 1, but to keep with the theme of my show, we're making it the 4th episode, and it's on water, the most important thing in a food storage or emergency preparation program. You can go 30 days or more without food, but you can only go about 5 to 7 days without water. So we're going to show you different ways of purifying water, and one of the most phenomenal water purification systems that's going to give you hundreds of thousands of gallons of water without changing filters, and doesn't require any mechanical battery use or fuel use of any kind. So that's something to look forward to. Number 4, where we went to Arlington, Texas, to the headquarters to film that episode. Okay, so we got a red food color in there. I'll put the lid on here. And as you can see, if you zoom in here, you got nothing but clean water, no pinkish hue, nothing. And this is high definition filming we're doing today, so you can really see the detail. And now I'm going to send Jim down to get some more water in our crappy bucket. And we're going to show you how to prime your filter if you don't have access to clean water, to do it the way I showed you that I did with the upside down procedure. So go ahead and grab some more water and we'll do that. In episode 5, my cameraman and director and I fly to Chicago and to the factory of one of the most phenomenal inventions, I call, that you could possibly own in your food storage, and everybody should have one without exception, because it's going to stretch the usage of any fuel you might choose to have. And we'll talk about different fuels, but it deals with a solar oven, and it can easily get up to 425 degrees using the sun, just like a regular oven. So if it takes 30 minutes to bake a loaf of bread at 350 degrees, that's how long it takes in the solar oven. Plus you can brown bread, you can pasteurize water. It'll keep your meals hot up to 2 hours after the sun goes down. We're going to show you how it works, how it's made. It's going to be an exciting episode. You can even use it to...
Well, I think it's just about time for the bread.
Well, it smells good from here.
One of the things you can see that's kind of interesting is once the food's cooked, it oftentimes starts to form a little bit of a mist on the glass. So remember, we sprayed some water on it to make it brown and put it in the oven, and now about an hour and 20 minutes later you can see the steam raising from the bread, and we got 2 nice brown loaves of bread ready to eat.
Oh, they smell good. I can't wait to dive into this, and the viewers just have to be jealous.
You ever been so hungry that your shoes begin to smell like a good T-bone steak? I hope not. Trying to thrive and survive in adverse conditions is not an easy issue. Just having food to eat many times is a comfort. But to be able to thrive is much different than being able to just survive. Trying to live off what many people think is a home storage of wheat and powdered milk and a few other items is not the way you want to go. We have put together the Patriot Pack. The Patriot Pack is a unique combination of foods, enzyme active cereals, energy bars that all you do is add water, cereals that are packed with energy that is giving you about 1,800 calories a day. One of the important factors is the vitamin mineral supplement that goes with it, that makes all of the other foods come alive. That gives you all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and digestive enzymes that you need to function properly. Energy is where it's at, and in thriving, you have to have energy. There are 180 delicious meals in the Patriot Pack. Not just ordinary meals, but something you would eat in a normal diet. They're excellent to eat. As a matter of fact, they smell good, they taste good, and they make you feel good. This Patriot Pack is so unique that it contains a blend of not only foods that you need to heat to be able to eat, but a unique combination of sprouting seeds that when placed in this very dynamic, easy sprouter, can even be carried inside a jacket in the middle of winter and sprouted, and you have live, viable foods. The seeds that are in here are a combination of powerful grains and cereals that when sprouted give you live, enzyme-active, real foods. We're talking about real foods, not just fake foods, canned foods. There's nothing in here that is fake. Even the fruit juice that's in this package is made with real fruit, not synthetic flavorings. It is designed to give you energy when you need it. The package also contains real dried fruits, air-dried fruits that are still enzyme active. They're all in foil packs, and these packs are easy to store. As a matter of fact, everything comes in 2 boxes. And there's enough here for yourself for 60 days or 2 people for 30 days. So don't be without. Consider using the Patriot Pack as a real insurance policy. So the Patriot Pack is a unique combination of live foods, vitamin and mineral supplements, granolas, cereals, pastas, bars, and all kinds of other things that are going to make thriving exciting. The Patriot Pack is something you consider to thrive and not just survive.
In episode 6, we break up or bust the food storage myth that you're going to have to become a vegetarian or vegan if you have a long-term emergency situation such as a war or nuclear attack or there's no commerce for several months or several years. You don't have to be a vegetarian. We're going to show you a company that makes freeze-dried meats that have a 30-year shelf life. They also sell real butter, not powdered butter, but real butter and real cheese in little smaller cans that have a 25-year shelf life. And they're made in New Zealand. So it'll be really great if you want to not become a vegan or vegetarian by force, and if you're a kind of a meatosaurus kind of guy like I am, to be able to have access to that product to put into your food storage if you choose to do so. And we're back. It's been about a half an hour now.
In 30 minutes, yeah.
Yep, our pork chops are rehydrated, and you're going to take them out of the can for us.
Look pretty good here. What we're going to do is I'm going to lay them out on the cutting board. I am going to put them over to the edge of the cutting board because they are raw. And these are actually...
So we're not looking at pre-cooked, they're raw.
We're not looking at pre-cooked. These are raw. And they're actually fresher than if you went down to the store today and bought some. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and put them right on the skillet. Notice we don't use any oil or grease. And
we've got this at about 300?
About 300 degrees, so
okay.
Figure medium, medium, high.
Yep, and you can use your volcano stove with the propane attachment to get that temperature. Okay.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to do these probably 45 to 50 seconds aside, and they'll be totally cooked.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
boy, they smell so good. Wow.
While that's cooking, I'm going to step out here and I'm going to grab a couple of these pork chops. Again, we have them in a Ziploc bag.
Right, to extend the shelf life.
To extend, right. I'm just going to take one out here and we'll lay it right down. They're very, very light. But let's say we're going to take and cook soups or stews. You want to take and put some pork in something, or let's say we're going to make some chili rede. So get your sauce going, and then instead of rehydrating them, let's just break them right up into pieces and put it right in the chili rede. And now we've got pork. You can see how the fibers are. And just put that right in your sauce. Soup. And it'll cook in the sauce, and what it does, let's say you want to make some barbecued pork chops, take and rehydrate them. When you rehydrate them, take and put just a little bit of barbecue sauce in the water, just enough to color the water, and then it just draws all that right into the pork chop, and
Wow.
you have barbecue pork chops.
Yeah, let's flip them over here.
By the way, a little something I'm sure all the ladies are watching here. Some of the guys may not, so I'm going to explain it to you. If you see the stuff that's starting to cook around the pork chops, it starts turning white, and that's pork blood. And when
Pork what?
Pork blood.
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 Okay.
As soon as it hits the heat, it turns to a nice little chalky white. And when the pork chop starts doing that, what it's doing is telling you, turn me over and seal all the juices in so I taste better for you. So
Okay.
once you start seeing a little bit of blood and stuff forming around, or
Which
the,
is
the
white.
right when it heats up white, it'll turn into a white little, looks like a froth, and flip it over, and it'll seal the moisture in the pork chop, and then you don't dry it out.
Okay. In episode 7, we're going to go through what I call a 5-star underground shelter. This is not made out of concrete, it's made out of corrugated steel. It's about 10 to 12 feet in diameter, your choice, and 50 to 89 feet long, your choice again. You can put it in your backyard, on a vacant lot, wherever you have a cabin in the mountains. You just simply bury it underground. It has an air purification system from Sweden that filters out all biologicals, radiation, and smoke from forest fires. It has running water, stainless steel sink, plasma screen TV, lots of storage space, bunk beds, hammocks. It's just a lot of fun. And so we're going to go through that in great depth in that episode number 7. Okay, all right, so let's go down.
Oh, yeah, that one? You know, when your eyes get real adjusted to the dark, then you can read quite nicely with that little light. It doesn't. So you can pull your knees all the way up to your ankles all the way up to your body, and not bump your knees on the bunk above, and you can get pretty comfortable in here.
Episode number 8 is going to be about a very lightweight new invention called the dome tent. It was created by Bob Ellertson out of Airline Aluminum. And most dome tents are cost prohibitive, extremely heavy, impossible to be portable. This one carries in 5 bags. You can put it in your trailer, your truck, and get out of town. Houses about 20 to 30 people. Has solar lighting, a wood-burning stove, tarp base, withstands up to 200-mile-an-hour winds. Or you can put a clear cover on it and make it into a greenhouse, or you can do both. So we're looking forward to showing that to you in episode number 8.
This is more than a tent. A tent is something we all think about that you'd set up for a few days or a week, and it goes up very quickly and it goes down again. But you're absolutely right. The fabrics that they're made out of and so forth will not withstand the rigors that we would like them to last years. So we can kind of look at this as a shelter, a geodesic dome shelter. So basically, it has and you've seen the other information about how we engineered the frame and so forth. But to show you the cover, this is a piece of cover that we punched a hole in deliberately. The grinning inside will make it so that you cannot tear it or rip it. And then we have patching tape that comes along with it, special tape.
So if you have a tree branch
falls on it, you can easily and quickly repair it. And unlike canvas, if there's a wind blowing and a tree falls in the wind and it punches through a canvas tent, I've seen them absolutely, the wind catches it and just shreds the whole tent right off. You're standing there with nothing but a frame, which is catastrophic. This will not do that. You may have a hole, but you can, after the storm goes by, you can go out and patch it. So how do we put the cover over and then fasten the frame? We came up with a fairly unique way of doing that, so that the cover is totally monolithic, if you will. There are no holes in that cover. You can have standing water on top of it. It will not leak in. It's absolutely waterproof. Okay. And it's very slippery, so snow will slide off. But what we do is I've taken one of the bars here. There are bars that run around the bottom. There's one of the frame members. They're 1-inch thick aluminum alloy aircraft. Basically, you come down, I'll come from behind it as though this were the cover from the outside. You come down with the cover, and it wraps under the bar and up over the bar on the inside. So it's like a 1/2 inch around a pole. Right. And then you would take these clips that we provide with it. There's 45 of them to go on there, and you snap it in place, and then the cover cannot come loose. We also have, for extra security, a little self-tapping screw that you could use a little battery-powered drill very quickly, or even a hand screwdriver. And it's self-tapping and goes right down, makes a small hole into the frame, and then it absolutely cannot come loose. In fact, a little story comes to mind. When we first built this a year ago, we set it up and we were a little lazy, so we didn't stake it down. Right. We thought, well, we'll get around to it, the old around to it thing. And it came back to bite us. The neighbor, who was kind enough to let us use his back lot, because we didn't have one big enough to set it up in, he called and he says, come quick, big storm came up, microburst just blew your dome away. So I envision all.
In episodes 9 and 10, you're going to meet my good friend and past business partner, Jim Phillips, who is going to teach you how your 72-hour kit can kill you. If you've purchased a 72-hour kit that was commercially made and you did not put it together yourself, you're going to be really shocked at how that isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. But the good news is we're going to pick it apart and show you exactly what you can do to fix the problem so that you don't find out in an emergency situation a big mistake you might have made in purchasing that equipment.
Let's look at something else that we find very commonly in these heat packs. Now, notice that most of what's in here is not about water so far. We haven't talked anything about clothing. In these kits, they don't tell you about that. They've tried to give you some things to make up for the fact that your clothing might be rather poor. And here's one of those other things they give you to make up for them. Some of these little heat packs, these are these things, you know, okay, well, we rip one of them open, you've seen them. They have these little white bag that's inside, and what it actually has is some carbon, some salt, a little bit of water, and very fine iron filings in here. And when you put iron in that environment and give it some oxygen, it actually rusts. This is an iron burner, is what I call it, is to cause it to rust very quickly, and it generates some heat. Rusting is an exothermic reaction. So we're just going to let this thing sit here and heat up for a moment. You read the bag and it says, you know, it gets hot up to 120 to 140 degrees. That sounds pretty good. It'll stay warm for up to 18 hours. Okay. But first off, let's take a look at it. You look at it and you say, well, that's how big it is. So I could heat that hand, or I could heat that hand, or my right foot, or my left foot. And I guess if I had 30 or 40 of them, I could lay them all over my body. But the idea is you're thinking like, well, I've got this little heat generator in there, but how many BTUs are in it? Not very many, that's the problem. Here's the real difficulty, and this is what they don't tell you. It's not on the package. And I've been feeling this thing to see what would go on, because this actually came in a little kit that I had. These take a few minutes to get up to heat, but you can detect right away if they're going to be heating up. And so far, I don't feel anything. Here's what they don't tell you. These have an actual practical shelf life of 2 years maximum. Actually, if you're going to have them in your kits, you want to rotate them every year. Get new ones and get them in there. Get new ones in there. And if you've had them in your kits for 3, 4, 5 years, you know what? They're probably useless. Here's the problem. You thought you had one of these things that was going to help you, because I got cold hands. My hands are freezing. My feet are freezing. I'm going to get these little things out, open them up, and they're going to get hot. And you get them out, and they've been in there for 3 or 4 years. They do nothing. Now what are you going to do? You don't have a backup. Or if they're like this one's just barely starting to get warm.
In episode 11, we're going to focus a little bit on basic first aid, a little bit more on advanced first aid, and very heavily on how to survive a pandemic. And this is going to be the only episode out of all of them that's actually scripted for legal purposes, because the product you're going to see, which is going to be available in January or 1st of February of 2008, will kill any pathogen, any unfriendly biological. It will not hurt friendly biologicals or friendly flora in 15 seconds. It's FDA approved, pharmaceutical approved, but it doesn't need to be recommended by a doctor. You do not ingest it. But there will be products forthcoming very shortly thereafter by the same company, whose name I can't mention at this time, for internal products as well. So if you want to know how to survive a pandemic with any biological such as anthrax, smallpox, staph, avian flu, and on, this product literally kills it in 15 seconds. It will not hurt you. You could drink it even though you're not supposed to, and we don't recommend it, and it would not hurt you. So it's going to be a phenomenally important thing for you to know about. In episode 12, we're going to cover fuels and cooking devices. Fuels such as alcohol, kerosene, diesel, gas, and propane. Also Dutch ovens, mess kits, solar ovens a little bit, and a new invented product called Cold Fire that'll put out any fire in seconds, and it's just mixed in a spray bottle with water. And we're going to actually put out a burning tire just by misting it with this Cold Fire product. It has a 15 to 20 year shelf life. So look forward to episode 12 on the fuels and things you can cook with. In episode 13, we're going to cover lighting, such as waxless candles, regular candles, 100-hour candles, headlamps, flashlights, shaking flashlights, all the things you can think about, glow sticks that, or you haven't thought about, for having light, because light's really essential at nighttime if you need to get up or do something. In episode 14, we're going to bring back my good friend and past partner, Jim Phillips. And he's going to be talking about his patented invention called winter clothing. Now this clothing is called Thermal Johns and winter clothing, two different sets of clothing. It fits in a duffel bag, and you can make it yourself. You can buy his DVD and make it yourself, and he even provides the raw products if you need them to build it yourself. Or he's got a staff to make one-size-fits-all kind of thing. But the good news is it fits in a duffel bag, it's lightweight, and it's going to last you 5 to 6 years. And you won't have to use any wood or any of the fuels that we've talked about in past episodes to stay warm. So we're really excited about that, to be able to share that with you so that you can have that as part of your emergency preparedness equipment if you live in an area that has cold winters and things of that nature.
It was because of its ability to manage the moisture, move it away from you. Let me show you what this, some people would call it super underwear, looks like. We call them Thermal Johns. And this is a factory-made Thermal John right here. And quite frankly, it just looks kind of like, well, fat pajamas, if you will. It's just well padded. In this particular case, this is only 1/2 of an inch thick. The Arctic wear, you need 1 full inch of foam. In the case of living in a sheltered situation, in a house that has no utilities, where you still have windows and doors, that house will probably never go below 0. Most of the time, the house is going to be 10, 15, 20, 30 degrees. It's just going to be quite chilly. In that case, 1/2 of insulation like this will take care of you wonderfully well. But the secret is in its ability to move moisture so that you can put it on and wear it continuously, and you'll just change your outer shell, if you will. Now, what I'm going to do is, you've seen me dressed the way that I am, and I'm going to step off camera for just a moment. We'll make a change of clothing, and I'll come back and let me show you what this stuff looks like if you were wearing it in a home setting, and how you might be able to use it. Well, here we are back real quick, and I made a change of clothing, and I don't know, how different does that look? I guess what it looks like, I've been out working out, that's all. But you see, that is underwear. That's a very well insulated, a super underwear. We call them Thermal Johns. You just put underneath your regular clothing. It's not meant to be worn over top, because see, this shirt and these jeans that I have on here, they're cotton. You don't want cotton inside next to you, because cotton attracts and holds the moisture. But the synthetic materials, the polyurethane foam and the nylon and polyester fabrics that we use, they allow the moisture to just pass right through to the outside so that it won't build up. So here I am, I'm now dressed to live in my unheated house in the middle of winter when the temperatures might go down to 10 degrees in the house. Now I'm going to have to put on...
In episode 15, we call that one the sanitation episode. And that's the subject most people don't want to talk about and don't want to think about. Well, we're going to go into it in great detail. I even have a registered nurse talk about some products. But we're going to show you how to build a latrine, how to have a little 5-gallon toilet or a chemical toilet. And we're going to cover a subject that a lot of people never even think about in an emergency long-term situation, which is women have the tendency to menstruate during emergencies, whether you like it or not. And most people don't have the supplies to handle long-term needs there. So we have a product that will last 10 years. You can reuse it over again and again and again, as well as a disposable product that I think you'll be very interested in, that we'll have the nurse tell you about. In episode 16, I have a couple of gentlemen, manufacturer and the creator of a couple of products in a food line called Naturi, where you'll learn how to make your own energy bars from scratch with their little kit that fits in a number 10 can, has a 7 to 10 year shelf life. Or cereal you don't have to cook, and it has no grains in it. It's mostly seeds and popped amaranth and air-dried fruit. It's just a phenomenally good tasting product. If you had to live on it, you could, and you would enjoy living on it. It's kind of a rare product, because most products that will keep you alive you wouldn't enjoy eating day in, day out, nonstop. Whereas with this one, it's almost equivalent to eating cheesecake for the rest of your life, and we'd all love to be able to survive on that, wouldn't we?
Hey
is a unique emergency preparedness item for your consideration. Do you live in a large city, or do you have married children in a large city? Well, check out this incredible portable kitchen, especially fantastic for people who expect to have to get out of town in a hurry. It fits in the back of your truck. It's extremely easy to load. It locks for security purposes. Just look at all these great amenities. It has a double stainless steel sink, 2 separate propane grills, a microwave, a refrigerator, a meal preparation station, and lots of cabinet space. And it folds up into a compact box so you can bug out in a hurry to your next location. This is a limited edition system only, extremely durable. Only these units are gone. They're gone for good. The suggested retail price from the manufacturer was $69.95, but you can own one for the liquidation price of only $3,500. And that's not all. If you order now, you get all these extra accessories for no additional cost. A double-sided grill with a protective case, 2 grill boxes for the propane stoves, a 5-gallon jug for clean water, a drain kit for the sink, over $500 in free extras for the low price of only $3,500. This is a covert get-out-of-town system, and all your neighbors will think it's simply an awesome tailgate party toy. But this is no toy, so if you don't have to wait for when you leave town for an emergency, you can practice emergency preparedness right now while preparing to be having a tailgate party to everyone else. It goes where you go. Call 801-687-8787 or go to selfpreparedness.com and type in tailgate survival system. Do it now before they're all gone. Howdy, my name is Reg McDaniel, and I host the Made for Television, the Emergency Preparation and Cooking Show. I've been involved in emergency preparedness for over 20 years. Based on where you live, have you been worried about unfriendly biologicals? Are you concerned about a nuclear attack because you live close to a military facility? Are you worried about gang activity in the event of an emergency or people storming your home for any reason? Well, I found a 5-star underground shelter that will solve not just one, but all of those concerns. It's made of flame-proof corrugated steel. You can have one designed for 2 people or a large crowd of family and friends. It has a 5-star air purification system from Sweden, bunk beds with storage for personal effects, a double stainless steel sink, tables, waterproof hammocks for kids, a bathroom, and even a TV for watching movies. Tons of room for food, storage under the flooring designed with easily removable partitions. It has 2 ways to enter or exit the shelter. Runs on dry cell batteries, which can be recharged in multiple ways, such as solar power, water power if you live by a stream, handbar rotation, or short generator runs, using any kind of fuel. It has a CB radio, a ham radio, a portable Geiger counter, shelves for food, books, and family games. It has a monoxide-free cooking system. Concrete is cost prohibitive and will deteriorate after only a few years. Fiberglass is flammable. This steel system has been proven to withstand a ground zero impact and will last your lifetime. We simply dig a trench in your backyard or on your lot in the wilderness, transport it on a semi, and bury it. You can even hire me personally to stock it for you with many of the products I endorse on my TV show if you want. This is one thing I believe in so strongly that I convinced the manufacturer to let me be their first ever company representative. So if you're serious, then give me a call at 801-687-8787. That's 801-687-8787. Or email me at healthwise140@hotmail.com. Time is of the essence. I've also put together a community of underground shelters on some land plots in Utah and Montana involving multiple families if you want to be around people of like mind.
Do you feel a need for more food storage but don't have the usual $2,000 or $3,000 to get it? Do you have the basic foods for survival but want more variety, nutrition, and selection? For a very limited time, you can have 1 year's supply of gourmet food storage delivered to your door for just $500 down and a low monthly payment for the balance. That means you can get all this food now and pay for it in affordable budgeted payments. Call Cooking with Home Storage for the details at 435-835-8283. That's 435-835-8283. Pay $500 now, get the 1 year food supply right now, and make affordable monthly payments for more peace of mind. That's 435-835-8283.
In episode 17, we're going to cover a subject that I was not going to do originally, but then a new invention came out on the market that made it a lot easier, and so I changed my mind. And that involves sprouting. With sprouting, you put out seeds, soak them, and then you rinse them every other day or every day, and so many hours. It's high maintenance in my opinion, and if you're not careful, mildew can grow and destroy everything you've basically tried to grow. With the new invention, you can sprout your seeds in 8 to 9 hours. That's pretty exciting, and that's why I've gotten into sprouting now, because of that new invention. We're going to show that to you, as well as how to dehydrate food using a non-electric dehydrator as well as an electric dehydrator, your choice. In episode 18, 19, 20, and 21, you're going to meet my friend Ann Cerny, who is writing a new book, and she taught some classes that were 2 hours long, 8 hours total, that I attended, that taught me about a 6-grain mix that you use to grind for your flour, for your pancakes, your breads, etc. And since working with her, we've come up with an 8-grain mix, but it's just amazing. She does sprouting, she does the cooking, and we're going to show you in her kitchen how to do all this stuff on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And what's really amazing to me about this woman is she's come up with a way to create food that tastes like healthy fast food. Literally, like you didn't change your diet at all, and yet you are changing your diet, and it's more healthy, but you don't feel like you changed your diet at all. And that to me is phenomenal, because most people are not willing to change their diet, including me. So they're non-compliant, so I've never really pushed lifestyle changes. But with what you're going to learn from Ann, you can do a lifestyle change and not even realize you've done it. You can do it to your family. They won't realize it's been done. And it's just amazing. And you're going to see every recipe on the screen that we do and be able to follow it step by step. In episode 22, my guest is author and longtime personal friend J. Allen South, and he wrote a book called The Sense of Survival. And he compiled this over a 3 or 4 year period, and it's a compilation of volumes and volumes of books on survival techniques into one condensed version. And people who are really into survival are just amazed at how much information is in this book. It's an easy read. It covers everything from nuclear targets in the United States, an actual map, so you'll know if you live close to one. It covers raising farm animals and dressing them out. It covers creating shelter, bomb shelter, weapons, water purification, sanitation, and other things just too numerous to name. So you're going to meet Mr. South in that episode, and he's also going to tear apart his 72-hour kit and show it to you, and show you how he turned it just by adding a few things to a 14-day survival kit instead of a 72-hour survival kit, which I personally have changed mine too, because after Katrina, 72 hours just isn't going to cut it for a lot of situations where we live today. In episode 23, we will cover the subject of gardening. There should be garden seeds in your food storage in number 10 cans as part of your program. And I'm going to show you how to also grow apples on your apple trees without pesticides or herbicides, a very unique way that's done in Asia. I'm also going to show you how you can grow cherry tomatoes to the size of Roma tomatoes using a product like Miracle Grow, only it's all organic out of Seattle. And so I think you'll enjoy the episode on the gardening in number 23. Hi, this is Reg McDaniel, and welcome to my show, the Emergency Preparation and Cooking Show. Well, we're in my backyard today, and it's a couple of weeks, almost a week and a half, till summer officially begins. So we're going to shoot the first part of this episode in June, and then the last part of this episode we'll shoot in September. Because what we're going to do is show you a few gardening tips that you may not know about that could help you if you want to make that effort to have your own personal garden, also dealing with orchard trees and things of that nature. One of the things I learned through reading a specific magazine called Mother Earth News, which is a really great magazine if you want to subscribe to something of great value, is that you can put the stockings that women use when they try on shoes at like Payless Shoe Source, you know, those little short little stockings like this. They put them over their feet and slip their foot in the shoe. You can buy about 300 of these for about $3 from a supply place called Store Supply Warehouse. And their phone number is 1-800-823-8887. It comes in a little box like this, and the item number is 64106. So I want to give you that information in case you wanted to do what I've been doing. So basically, if you want to avoid using pesticides on apple trees, you can put these stockings over your apples after they've bloomed, and then you've got a little bit of a green bud coming out of the apple. Here in Utah, we have these wasps that come and sting the apple, and then their larvae hatch in the apple, and you have worms in the apple. And 3/4 of the apple you can eat just fine, but there's about 1/4 of the apple that's got the wormhole in it. It's all, you know, disfigured and not too appealing to the eye. So what we're going to do is I'll show you just briefly right here how you just take one of these and you can put them over 2 or 3, maybe even 4 apples if you want. I've got it over 4 here. And then I'll grab another one. And I've got one apple sitting by itself here. So I'll put it right over that one. And they can't sting through this, and you don't have to use pesticides and things like that. And so you just do your whole tree like that. Now, when I say 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 apples, I think that the apples will get too big for 4 to fit in one of these, so you got to keep an eye on them. In a month or 2, check your tree. And then if they're really getting big, you can slip it off and put it back on 1 or 2, and then put a new one on the other 1 or 2. And that's why I bought 2 boxes of these, because I have 2 apple trees and I wanted to be sure and get them all covered and have enough to expand and once they start growing and getting bigger. But this is a technique that's used quite a lot in Asia on their fruit trees, so they don't have to use any pesticides to keep the insects away from their apples. So you could use this on Golden Delicious. In episode number 24, we're going to cover the subject of how to make your own cheese from scratch, and that if you use the right kind of wax, and we'll tell you where to get the wax, that cheese will store in your food storage without refrigeration 30 years or more. And you can even cut a wedge out of that cheese and put wax over the wedge missing section and put it on the shelf for another 10 years. And my guest will be Pete Ogden from Redmond Mines, who runs the dairy where they sell raw milk in Redmond, Utah. And he's going to show us, and we're going to show on the screen every single step of the way and where to get the products and the book on how to make cheese for those do-it-yourselfers out there that want to make your own cheese. And all it's going to do is get sharper and sharper as years go by.
Got to remember that cheese making there's a lot of science involved in it, but at the end of the day, it's still an art. I don't think anybody really understands exactly what all of the things happening. There's so many interactions between the bacteria and the culture and the rennet and the milk and the enzymes and everything that people don't really understand what is happening exactly with that. That's why it's such an art. When people discover a make procedure, like for different cheeses, European cheeses like your Stilton or your blue cheese, which is done in England and France, where they use as well as a bacteria culture, they use a fungus culture in there in order to create that flavor, to your Swiss cheeses like your Appenzeller and your Emmentaler and different things like that. They've discovered that make procedure, and sometimes that make procedure is unique to that particular area. And so, in fact, in some areas in France, some cheeses have been licensed as a regional product and can't be exported because that's region's product. Italy has the same thing with some of their Gorgonzola and some of the other mozzarella cheeses that you see. So, okay, basically, we're done here now. And we've had our bacteria in there for the 30 minutes. Our culture, our Mesophilic A culture, has taken effect. We've got our rennet solution ready to go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce the rennet solution into the milk. Now remember, rennet is the coagulator, so this is going to be fairly dramatic about how things, there's my timer going on. So you want to do the same thing. You can start to see some of the butterfat starting to coagulate already just from the bacterial action. See that on top of the milk. You want to start at the top and work your way down to the bottom. And like I said, a skimmer or a flat spatula or a slotted spoon is usually the best to do this because you get your best uniform mixture there. You want to make sure you're checking your temperature often to make sure you're still at your 90 degrees. And we're good there. Okay, so right now we're going to let that rennet sit in there for about half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on your make procedure. I'm going to set this one for a half an hour. And we're going to let that coagulate.
In episode number 25, I have a newfound friend and guest by the name of Peggy Layton. And Peggy has written a book we're going to cover in that episode called Cooking with Beans and Rice. We're going to do some recipes with her and talk about the importance and how the beans and rice is a very, very inexpensive way to create a food storage. Should be part of your food storage, and it's a great way to start versus starting with wheat. And she's written several other books. We'll cover those books, such as Cooking with Dehydrated Eggs, with dehydrated potatoes. She's written a lot of books, and so you're going to get to see her number come up on the screen and be able to get a hold of her, and I think you'll enjoy that episode. To give you an example, one of the books she's written is called Emergency Food Storage and Survival Handbook. She's written a book on cooking with dried eggs, cooking with potatoes, cooking with powdered milk, and the one we're going to talk about today specifically is cooking with beans and rice. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about the author. She's a home economist, holds a bachelor's degree of science in home economics education from Brigham Young University with a minor in food science and nutrition. Most importantly, she has 9 children, so she knows the importance of having a food storage, feeding that many people. And so if you'll invite Peggy on board today, come on up, Peggy, and let's give her a big hand. Welcome to the show, Peggy.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking about cooking with beans and rice, and we both agree that beans and rice are the most inexpensive bulk item you can buy to get a quick food storage that you can survive on. And let me just tell a couple things that she didn't even know about her book that I wrote down. One is you've got 50 different recipes just with rice, okay? I counted, okay? Then you've got another, 70 or so, totaling 150 using beans. So there's 150 recipes total just in this book. And all of our viewers are constantly looking for new recipes on how to cook with food storage. So that's one of the reasons I highly endorse this book, Cooking with Beans and Rice. So we're going to talk about the different beans now. On episode 26, we're going to cover what to do in the event of a nuclear attack if you're worried about that, or what to do in the event of a biological attack if you're concerned about that. And that's basically it for that episode. And then, of course, how to cook with food storage is at the end of every episode, including that one. When I talk about weapons, what's the first thing that comes to you, the viewer's mind? Most likely guns, but there are several kinds of weapons that you need to consider as having part of your emergency preparedness equipment, which do not involve guns for different reasons and different purposes. We're going to show you all those different weapons and the reasons for them that you probably never thought of, but in reality we can quote situations where they were needed. It has nothing to do with people. And of course we will cover guns too as a lost part of that episode. But they too have a different purpose, such as a shotgun if you want to shoot quail or pheasant or geese, or a deer rifle for deer or elk, things like that. Not just shooting people, and that's not our mentality or belief system in this show. Howdy, I'm Reg McDaniel, host and creator of the Emergency Preparation and Cooking Show. My 2 friends here today are going to talk about the emergency bucket they have. One of the things I really like about it is the nutrition and the simplicity of all you do is add water. That's all you need. No special cooking skills, special survival skills, just water. So go ahead, take it away, guys.
As Reg mentioned, he's mostly focused on the food, but there's other aspects to the bucket. Okay, at Food for Health, we prepared several products for you in the event of an emergency. If you've seen our clip here on the show, you know that we survived for 6 days living just out of this bucket. So Derek, tell us what's inside the kit.
Quite simple. Enough supplies for 2 people, 2 strapping young guys like us, for 6 days. We've got water filtration, most important item. We've got food, enough for 2 people, 6 days. We even have the pot to cook it in. We've got a great fuel source here, which can be used indoor or outdoor. It's non-toxic, and it boils 2 quarts of water in less than 14 minutes.
What about the flashlight? Tell me about the flashlight.
The flashlight's really cool as well.
Don't forget the flashlight.
I love the flashlight. The flashlight will charge the cell phone. That's the most important part. But it is a crank, so you can crank it to get your power, so you can get your light. But more importantly, it's got the radio with it, so you can always stay in touch. We've got waterproof matches, windproof and waterproof. So if it's windy, you can still light the fire. We got the first aid kit. We've got 2 masks. We've got emergency blankets, which are my favorite. We've got the whistle You've got the Leatherman tool, and then you've got a bucket, which is really good to sit on if you're tired.
And a whistle. Stranded, abandoned, kidnapped, who knows? You need this emergency kit to survive for 6 days.
2 people.
6 days.
2 people.
And the shipping is always free. I'm Jeff Power, and this is Derek Christensen. And we survived in New Orleans for 6 days out of this survival bucket. You can get yours at EasySurvivalSolutions.com. Go to Reg McDaniel's site, and you can purchase your very own emergency supply kit. And as always, the shipping
is free if you put in TV show in the code.
Again, the coupon code for this emergency kit is TV show. And we're going to say it one more time in case you were chewing on cornflakes. The coupon code is TV show.
So don't forget that you can go to our website, www.selfpreparedness.com, and you can purchase all 28 episodes and make as many copies as you want for your friends and family, and they're only $9.95 an episode. Plus you get the free bonus DVDs we talked about. My final episode, number 28, is with newly acquired friend Diane Thomas, who for many years was on Good Morning America, famous TV personality. She wrote the book Roughing It Easy and Roughing It Easy in Your Backyard, as well as others. We're going to discuss her 3 books. She actually was able to provide to me the tools that I needed in order to start my own TV show. So in her honor, I did want to have her and talk about her books, which you need to know about because when you're in an emergency situation, you can undergo a lot of stress if you have a lot of downtime with nothing to do but grind weed or cook. So these books will teach you things that are fun you can do as a couple or as a family that help lower the stress, take your mind off the situation. Very easy to do, and we're going to cover a lot of things in that episode. So I hope. Welcome back to our show, and today I do have Peggy Layton, who has written the book Cooking with Beans and Rice. And we're showing a little stir-fry recipe here. Now everybody's familiar with our dehydrated bell peppers, our dehydrated onions, and our dehydrated mushrooms. We used fresh onions, mushrooms, and bell peppers today, but there they are. We all have them in our food storage if we're wise. And so I've been sauteing them in olive oil, which we all know has a 6 to 8 year shelf life. And is what kind of oil, Peggy? Is it a healthy oil or not a healthy oil?
Very healthy oil. Yes, and it's
you
the best
passed the
oil.
test.
It's the best one to store because it stores the longest and it doesn't go rancid on you.
Okay. So I've been cooking these for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then we're ready to put in the egg, right? Next, am I right? Or do we want to do some chicken bouillon first, don't we? Just sprinkle it on there.
Just a little
Yeah,
to give it some flavor. And another thing you can do is when you're cooking your rice, I've got this pre-cooked rice, you can actually put the bouillon right in the water and let it dissolve before you put the rice in. And then when you cook the rice, it will absorb the bouillon and it'll give it a really good flavor.
Taste. I've had it that way. Oh, it's delicious.
And so right now we're going to put a little bit of bouillon in with the oil and just give that some flavor. I always like to put my rice in first and get it cooking before I do the
Well,
eggs.
this recipe is in your book, so it's being shown on the screen as we're doing this. And now that we've got the bouillon in, what's next? We don't want to do the eggs yet, huh?
No, the
Okay,
eggs are
go in last. Okay.
Okay, we're going to do at least 3 cups of rice. And
Now
you
we're
know,
doing about a half a recipe, so you're
Yes.
going to do okay.
This is not rocket science. You can just kind of see if you've got enough. Okay, that's probably good.
Okay.
And let's turn this down.
Sure.
So what he's doing is frying the rice and the vegetables together and getting those flavors to blend with the bouillon. It makes it taste really good. And then as soon as he gets that fried up, he's going to kind of move the rice to the side and put the eggs in the middle.
Right. Now, one of the nice things about cooking rice is if you use the solar oven that I've demonstrated in another episode, you won't scorch or burn or overcook your rice. You can do it right in the solar oven, and it stays moist and it won't dry out, and you don't have to heat up your kitchen preparing your rice. Okay, so I think we're okay, or I need to put a little butter in there or oil in there to fry the
You
egg.
can put just a little bit more oil. This is
Okay.
olive oil. Just a tiny bit for the eggs.
About a tablespoon, there you go.
Yeah.
And then we'll just put a little bit, not the whole thing.
Use about half. I put 4 eggs in there, but that's for a full recipe. And so probably use 2 eggs for a half recipe like what we're doing.
And of course we could use powdered eggs, which is 1 tablespoon of powdered egg to 1 tablespoon of water to make 1 egg. So that's how we would do that.
Yeah.
All right, still want to keep it on medium low? I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, you just don't want it to burn. So
Right.
go to medium. And then you just kind of cook the egg in the middle and let it just thicken up a little bit before you start mixing it with the rice.
Rice is going to fall into it, but that's okay.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit of rice. You just wanted to get it cooking before you start mixing. Now remember, when you store your rice, you've got to store other things to go with it. Sauces, gravies,
Spices.
spices, bouillon. Bouillon is one of the most important things to have in your food storage. You've got to have soy sauce in your food storage because everybody stores rice. You need soy sauce.
And another thing about the spices, if you want to get them for lesser money, there's a chain of stores nationwide that are called dollar stores. And these dollar stores have bottles of spice, the usual standard size for $1. And so you can really store up on spices at a very inexpensive price instead of paying the usual $3.59 to $4.59 a bottle for the same exact spice that you could get at your dollar store. So that's a good source to get spices, not all of them, but many of them, for lesser money and stretch your dollars for your food storage. Okay, I think we're about there, so I'll start
Yeah.
mixing it in.
Looks good. And just remember, if you don't have fresh ingredients, you can always get out your dehydrated onions, dehydrated bell peppers, and dehydrated mushrooms.
Right.
You just soak them until they plump up and look like the real thing.
Yep, and taste like the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the real
They
thing.
are.
That's why.
They definitely are.
Okay, I think we're done.
I wanted to say something else about the egg powder. It is real egg. Some people think it's not, but it is.
Yeah,
it's real egg.
It's not a chemical derivative,
No,
it's actual
it's
egg.
good for you and it's healthy.
Yep.
So those are the things that you'll need in your storage, things like dried eggs, dried milk. Those are the things we run out of the most. Butter, oil.
Yep, and so that's it for the stir-fried rice, which is in Peggy's cookbook. I want to thank you for being here today, and as I end this particular recipe, I'd like to take off my hat and let's praise the Lord for all the food He's given us, and for the ability to be prepared during the tumultuous times ahead when we have earthquakes, tornadoes, floods, whatever. And have a good night, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for watching. You're now better prepared today to be safe tomorrow.